Hello, this is Risto,
And this is Carolina.
and we are still Stick With Us podcast.
Heyo.
Heyo! We are already at the season 3 of this Armageddon,
Armageddon, like why?
of this series of podcasts. And today we have again 2 topics.
Yeah. We're going to start with our first topic that is going to be, what is it about, Risto? About what we do for a living.
Yes, where do we get our money from?
Yes, careers, cha-ching.
Cha-ching. And the next will be, in general, kindness and kind of random acts of kindness. What do you think about it for today's evil world? So
Yeah.
this is the season 3, episode 1 already.
Okay, let's go.
So let's step right into it. So what do you do for a living?
Me? Okay, straight like that. Okay, so start from the beginning.
Yes, so
Okay, so I went for my undergrad to study languages, like linguistics and literature. And then I went for my that's the undergrad. And then I went to grad school for anthropology. It's like, you don't like money, do you?
well, I guess the hard sciences are usually the ones that are most easy to turn into a profession.
I don't know.
Engineer.
I am like 100% humanities kind of person, that it's not that I couldn't go for sciences. It would overall take me longer, I think, to graduate, because
Yeah.
when I was in my last year of high school, I did this whole assessment. It was part of, we had to do it. It was mandatory in the school. And we did all these career testings, and we had like a psychologist and a career coach and blah, blah, blah. And they said that I had a lot of intelligence for humanities, that I could do
Yeah.
other things.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't come as easy.
Oh, you mean naturally or easy?
Yeah, it wouldn't come naturally or as easy if, for example, I wanted to study physics.
Oh, right.
Like I thought once.
Yeah, that you are more inclined into humanities just by the nature of your mind and interests.
Yeah, and when I did like college exams simulator, that I went to the actual college to get it tested, I actually passed on the first time for advertisement course, but I ended up going through, linguistics,
Yeah.
and I stayed there.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I used to be a teacher full time. You know.
I have an inside knowledge of this.
Yeah. I used to be a languages teacher.
The what teacher?
Languages. I used to teach languages.
But what languages?
I used to teach Portuguese, Spanish, and English as a second language. All of them. Or a foreign language as well. And then ever since I moved to Finland, I started doing other things that I worked with that a little bit, but then I started doing freelance jobs.
Yeah, some podcasting.
Yeah, and nowadays I'm trying to become an actual writer, because this is what I went to college for.
You know what you're writing about and how
Yeah.
to write.
That was the whole idea, going to college to become a writer. And here we are, 20 years later, trying.
Yeah.
Finally.
So cool. I don't know where's the limit of doing something for your living, because I don't know if you have earned anything from your writings yet.
Not yet, and there's a lot of freelance work to be done. And now with AI, it's a little tricky.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
It's like a little bit oversaturated, because everybody wants AI, nobody wants to pay you for things. But definitely we are not there at the moment that AI can do things by themselves. It's still like 100% you can see that is AI. And as a teacher is also very worrisome, because you have to learn how to use a lot of software to make sure that your students are not delivering AI work.
Yeah.
And also you need to get like a trained eye, which I think most of us, we get to know people very well.
Yeah, all of a sudden there's James giving like a perfect 10 essay. It's a little bit suspicious.
There's no such thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like stressful time for that. And you kind of have to, I guess, always adapting, always studying, always learning to do something on top of the things that you learned.
But do you think it's like, what would you say to maybe not for your younger self, but maybe somebody who is thinking about what to do with their life? Do you think that they should be, I don't know, more honest or more, let's say this, more honest about the fact that it's easier to get employment from the certain subjects, or honest with the passion or what you're inclined to do?
I think it's like sometimes even if you try the safest of the things, you can still be severely underemployed because everything is garbage nowadays. You see people, I'm sorry, but it is like there's people of all sectors complaining that they cannot find a proper job. So there is no such thing as we were told by our boomer parents that you get degrees and you are like settled for life. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, there's no certainty. So at least find something that you know how to do and you have at least a mild liking to it.
Yeah, I agree. There's always this thing about you should do something that at least it's not like torture to do, like that you get the money, but is the money only thing in the world? Maybe it is, I don't know, but
it helps.
It helps, but for example, if you are very obscure, I don't know, I'm a lecturer of ancient sciences about modern whatever, blah blah blah. Something very specific. I don't know how easy it is to get employment, but at the same time, if you are run of the mill, let's say something that usually was easily employable, like a computer sciences guy, if you're just standard, like I know a little bit of that and a little bit of that, it won't, you are not specific enough, so it has to be something in between,
which I think is a little bit like what you are. Sometimes you are like, for anyone that likes Friends, sometimes you're like a little bit like Chandler Bing's job, that nobody knows exactly what you do, but you have to try to explain. So what do you do now, and what did you study for?
Well, now I'm a system specialist, and I work here in Finland, in Helsinki, and I like my job, even though there's a lot of responsibilities. It's quite like, because I do a lot of on-duty kind of stuff, that I have to be the one who is there answering phones and checking up systems all the time. I cannot be just like, how would I say, with my, is it the saying that I only work with my left foot in, or like a half speed, that you kind of have to focus on what you do, and so it is a responsibility that I have to take, but I don't feel it that it's like I'm dragging like a big stone behind my back or something. I guess it's because I have done it already 5 years. It starts to be quite like a routine, let's say.
And what did you study like originally for?
Well, that's the funny story, because when I graduated high school and I was thinking what do I want to do in my life, the simplest one was to get a profession, and the simplest profession was one of those that you get from, what is it called, like not high school, or...
You have to explain for the people who are not in Finland, because this is something that would be close in English, like trade school.
That you get a profession after a few years, 3 years.
Exactly. You don't go to college, right after your mandatory school, that in Finland is like, I think, 9th grade.
Yes,
like
9.
So high school is optional in Finland. So after 9th grade, you decide, are you going to trade school or are you going to high school? And you went to trade school.
Yeah, and from all places all things that I could choose, I chose not a chef, but
cook.
Cook, and not only a cook, but a cook that cooks for let's say a school or a jail or
Cafeteria.
something big scale, like not like a couple dishes here and there, but like those big ovens that you can fit a human being into.
Jesus, that's not a good comparison.
So yeah, I went from that. The next step would be to go to ammattikorkeakoulu, which is Polytechnic.
Yes.
And from Polytechnic, I went to this kind of, how would I say?
You're skipping
Yeah.
because it's important to say, you all, that he's not a good cook by any
No.
means. I'm sorry, I love you, but that's not your thing.
No, I
it
don't
isn't.
have that instinct, for example, that I see sometimes you have, and maybe your mom or even your dad when he's barbecuing or something
Yeah.
like that, that they don't need instructions when there's something that is happening. Okay, I need to do something about this, and they can kind of, okay, this needs more salt or whatever. But for me, I did, just for an example, I did the whole dish without tasting it at all once, and then once it's finished, I just, okay, it's not great, but this is what I have now.
Yeah, and
So-
then you have to explain because of that you changed careers, so you went to
Yes.
the Polytech for something else.
I went to the
Go on.
Polytechnic about business studies. I think it's a good translation because it's more like a little bit of the computer sciences, but also we did some budget counting and marketing and stuff like that. And after that, I went to university because there is a track from Polytechnic to university that if you have enough credits from Polytechnic, which I also already had a degree on, I could manage to go to university with relative ease and then continue there for my master's degree
In what?
in information sciences.
So there you go. That's how you got into computers. Standard nerds. If you
So-
know, you know.
Yeah, and I like my job. I have to say that it's nice, and I don't have to be the one who is the, how would I say, I'm not the one who is easily replaceable.
Yeah.
With all dignity and respect for those people who have been laid off, but at least so far I have been lucky enough to get my job.
I really like when I was teaching classes at the uni. It's like something that I like to do, that I am a people person and I like talking to people and discussing. I think I like teaching humanities more than I like teaching languages.
Yes.
So that is something. And would you do something else if you could?
Yes, I think I would do something like with my hands. I don't think I would like to be like now. It's always there's always a monitor somewhere. If it's not a monitor, it's something like I need to go somewhere and let somebody in because we have more access on that building. But there is like those things that one guy also said that if I could choose something differently, it would be something that I could have a human interaction. And I agree, it's something that you can do that is more, not basic, I don't want to minimize anybody's profession, but something that is more like, this is what I do and this is the end result.
Yeah. I think I would have maybe ditched the linguistics part and I would have stayed just with literature and maybe, become like, I don't know, even like, I used to be a translator as well, but I didn't like it that much.
Yeah.
But something that, I don't know, I would have enjoyed if I had studied only literature, that I could be maybe like a copy editor or something like this for a publisher. That would have been very interesting job. But I think like you do what you can with the things that you have, and I think nowadays because I am looking for a full-time job, if I could choose, I really like to do something like this, either work for a publisher or work like teaching classes at the uni again. I don't see myself teaching kids anymore. I think it's a time of my life that it passed already, And I did that for 10 years. So
you know what you're talking about.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult work that is very underpaid.
Yes.
So we need teachers, but people have to give more respect to us, you know.
And what do you think about our next topic about the kindness and...
People need to be kinder to teachers for
Yeah.
crying out loud.
I was just thinking about the same, because not only there is problems with the AI like you mentioned, but also there is problems with mobile devices and even
Yeah.
watches
Yeah.
and this kind of like I don't know what culture would it be, but more like instant gratification, getting
Yeah.
some clicks and likes, and then there's people who do these stunts and try to agonize the teacher or whatever to get some kind of response, and then post it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, just to get some likes.
Yeah.
So please,
Yeah.
but be kind to others, and
Yeah. Sometimes you also have to think about culturally what is kindness, because for example here in Finland, and because I'm not Finnish, I am Brazilian Italian, so I know there are certain things that I can do in Brazil and in Italy that would be an act of kindness. For example, I would tell a stranger in the street, look, your backpack is open, your shoe is unlaced. But usually people are very grateful.
Yeah.
And they will say thank you, or if you hold the door open to them, or you help them with their market
Something,
bags
yeah.
or something. But generally, I'm not saying this as a rule, I say that Finnish people get bothered even if you're trying to be kind, because you're kind of like meddling into their personal space. So sometimes I think an act of kindness in Finland is to leave people alone.
Yeah, I think many people appreciate it, and I would like to say, as a Finn, it's very true that even for me, who is a native born and raised here, when I try to do something very small, give a basket or in the grocery store.
Can we tell that story?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
There was this older lady, who was
Like,
obviously a little bit like unsure where the baskets are in
And
there.
struggling because she was very old, like
Yeah.
grandmother, like 80s.
Yeah, and I was there like fully body abled.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, might as well. I'm taking a basket. I'll give her a basket. And I took a basket and I handed that to her. And she was very angry. Like, she was like, wah, wah, wah. Like, what is it? Like, oh, not cursing, but kind of like trying to make it feel like I'm the wrong. Yeah, that what am I bugging into her life? That, and I was like, well, okay, then forget it. But it's kind of like a weird situation when you try the smallest of things.
Exactly. And then on the other hand, when we used to live in Dublin, there was a similar elderly lady. Then she asked you for help, and she called you love and put the hand on your shoulder.
Felt nice.
Would you mind like picking it up for me, because I can, you're so much taller. And then she was very nice and very gentle. So you feel like, okay, I feel like I can help this person. But here in Finland, generally, I see that people prefer to be left alone so they can deal with their own stuff.
Yes.
Even if you're there dying to help them, but they would prefer if you don't.
Yes.
I was even shocked, maybe not a word, but surprised that once that I tripped on the street, I think I looked like a boulder going downhill, because 3 or 4 Finnish people came to pick me up from the ground, and I was surprised that they were helping me, and they were asking me, are you okay? Do you need something? And they spoke to me in Finnish, of course, and I said, I am okay, I live close by, and I got home all blooded.
Yeah, I remember that day, and it was weird. Yeah,
it was weird, but I guess it was more exception. So I think kindness, it's not something that is universal. It's also cultural.
Yeah, because we always hear those things about that kindness is like, what is the word, like the good guys finish last, and there's this kind of putting down the kindness. But for example, this good guys finish last thing, it's kindness masquerading as some kind of agenda behind this. It's not kindness just for being kind.
Again, like another friend's comment, that if you remember when Joey and Phoebe, they had this convo about a selfless good deed.
Yeah.
Are you doing this to feel good about yourself, or are you really doing to be good to somebody else? And I think Joey is right that every kindness has a little bit of selfness to it.
Yes.
You know,
you feel good after doing kind things.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that sometimes we got disappointed before. For example, you got angry that the old lady didn't understand you. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying, that you kind of have to understand where you are and what people consider a kindness. So usually I try to be more, keep it to myself more in here. But of course, if somebody asks me for a favor, of course I will do it. Like, do you think you can hold the door for me so I can come in? Of course. I wouldn't shut the door on their face.
You don't go out in your way to try to be rude to people.
No, of course not. But I understand, for example, that if I am in Italy, it's okay, for example, if I help somebody, like it happened before, somebody asked me to hold a baby.
Yeah.
I was like, sure. And there I am, like, like I was getting like a detonator or something. And here usually doesn't happen, so you kind of have to see where you go, but where you are and what you do. But I think that it's nice to be nice to people in general.
Yeah, like when in Rome kind of attitude.
Yeah, something like that.
So, so what are we talking about next episode?
So next episode, we're going to be talking about Would You Rather?
Yeah.
And kind of common knowledge. So how those things, we're going to maybe ask a couple of those Would You Rather to each other and put each other on the hot seat.
Yeah, so that's it for the episode 1. We hope that you liked it, and stay tuned for the episode 2.
Bye.
Bye.